Welcome back to Faces of Parkinson's. I'm your host, Robert Cochran, and today I am joined by one of my favorite people in the world. This is my dad. Hi, Dad.
How you doing, guys?
I'm doing good. How are you?
Good.
I heard you were just watching something pretty cool. What were you watching?
The Walking Hoosiers, and they just finished their. They won the semifinal, and they're going to be going on in the final here pretty.
Oh boy! So he hasn't done the whole measuring of the hoop thing yet, and the free throw line.
That's coming up next.
That's coming up next. Oh, I'm glad you got to look at that. Sports movies obviously carry a lot for us. I think about that, Dad. In our history, kind of setting this up for our fans at home, we watched a lot of movies growing up that I can remember anyway that had a big impression on me. Hoosiers was one of them. The Natural on a baseball front is probably the biggest one I think I remember up until Field of Dreams. Do you
Yeah.
remember watching The Natural together? I remember watching that with you.
I don't remember watching it together. No.
It was something where you and I talked afterward because it came out when I was in my teens and I had read the book as well. It was assigned in high school and I was blown away by the beauty of it. It just I always loved about baseball. And the movie captured it so well. The nostalgic element. It felt like that that Americana that people who are fans of the game like to attach to it. The Natural captured it so well.
Yeah, it was a special time in baseball. I'm sure it was very. It seemed like it had a real national appeal.
Yeah, well, growing up for you, baseball was not a huge deal, right?
Growing up for me, it was not a huge deal. We had a minor league team, the Seattle Rainiers, and my dad would take us to those games, but I was more interested in the peanuts and popcorn than I was
Yeah.
in the
Did the stadium hold any sort of appeal in your mind? What stadium did they play at?
Six Seattle Stadium. Elvis appeared there.
Oh yeah?
Yeah, he was there in his gold suit. But it was six. It was owned by the Rainier Breweries, and it was on the hill right above the stadium. Uh, and of course, I didn't drink any beer then, so it didn't. Their product didn't have anything to do with me. But
Not yet.
no, and I wasn't a real good sports fan. I liked the cartoons better.
Sure. Well, let's get into that a little bit because that's something part of our history with Boys of Summer I always bring up, but it's good to hear it from your perspective. What did my watching sports mean to you as you look to grow our relationship? And what did you think of me as a sports fan? Because I don't know where I got it, but I was a sports fan from almost as early as I can remember, around 8 or 9 or 10 years old, and I got very attached to my teams.
Yeah, the Sonics was the first one. Uh, And we stay up. We'd wake up at night and watch the game at midnight. That was really quite a deal on both our parts.
Because that was a tape delay, and
Yeah,
that was what the NBA did in 1978, I think it was.
yeah,
And like you said, big deal for you because you had to get up for work at about 4 o'clock, right?
right. You get up at 4 o'clock in the morning, 3:30 or 4, and I was a lot younger then.
What was the thought in waking me up? Why? So you must have had some thought to want to share that with me. Why did you decide I'm waking Bob up? Because you didn't wake Chris up.
You had an interest in the team, and nobody else I knew had an interest in the team. We were transplants from Seattle and stepping on the Warriors' toes, and nobody even want to talk about that.
Well, sure, because the Warriors had some great teams there in the mid 70s. The Sonics really hadn't had, they were just finally becoming that. And can you remember any, and I know I'm pressing you on this, but what led you, what was my interest? How did I get attached to the guys' names? Or I'm trying to think, 'cause I don't remember how I got attached to it at all. Just that I do remember, I can remember sitting on the couch with you and cuddling up with my little stuffed animal. And I don't even know if I stayed awake, but I was so excited that you asked me to stay up with you.
Yeah, I didn't know that I had that kind of influence over you. It was our first venture into that area. But certainly your interest in it and where it came from, I don't know either. It just whether it came from reading the papers and talking to your friends. I don't know. I can't imagine you had too many friends who were Sonics fans.
No, I don't even, I mean, I played soccer as a kid. That was the first sport I played. And then I remember liking to play the games, with friends and becoming an athlete, as it were, at that level. And that was fun for me. But that invitation by you, it still sticks to me as something very important. And if it was around that time, I had become a Broncos fan around then too, because that was the 1977 team. And again, that came through a friend, and just seeing their social, the way they reacted to the game is what I was excited about. I didn't know the game at all, just like I didn't know basketball with you. But what I knew was other people liked it, and I wanted to be part of the crowd.
Yeah.
Baseball, baseball, what I remember getting to was those Billy Martin years, and I think the Payzants were part of it because we'd go to boat shows and then we'd go to baseball games in the Coliseum, and Doug knew how to have a good time.
That's for sure.
So what do you remember about those Billy Martin teams? Because they were a big deal.
I remember kicking dirt on the umpire's shoes. I remember getting in fistfights. They get in fistfights at spring training. Big pony.
What did you think of him?
He would win, so I liked him, and he was controversial. I think if you, as long as he's winning, he's gonna be okay.
Well, it's funny because we moved to the Bay Area right after the Charlie Finley years. I mean, the A's were just coming off that tremendous run of three straight championships, and we got there just as they were being dismantled. So they had lost their identity for the 1975 when we got there, and it wasn't until Billy Martin got there that they got their identity back.
Yeah, I had a bet with a friend of ours, and we had not a great deal in common except that he liked to bet and I liked to bet, and I'll never forget. He never paid me off for the A's winning the World Series.
Oh, back in '80 at nine when they beat the Giants.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, we should see if you don't mind naming names. We'll see if we can track him down.
Well, he's dead. He's Tom.
Dominus Ominous, my apologies, and we'll get him another time.